All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, July 28th. It's end of month. My name is Bill Soroka, founder of NotaryCoach.com and the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. I'm here with our awesome co-host, Carol Ray, founder of Notary 2 Pro. Carol, thanks for being here today.
My pleasure.
What are you excited about this week? What's going on?
Oh, have we got an hour?
You're that excited, huh?
I am so excited. First of all, I'm excited because I got my first haircut in 2.5 months.
Big day.
It's really short, and that's fine with me. It'll last another couple of months. So that's very exciting. But what I'm really, really excited about is Notary 2 Pro is about to step into the modern world. Barbara's been working so hard, and we have got some things coming up in just a few days, August the 1st, that's going to change so much for us and for our students and our graduates, because we're going to be automating the things that take so much of our time every day, and that is welcoming new students, getting them set up, doing the testing process and getting them the results of their exams, and doing the certification, sending out the congratulations letters. So much is going to be taken care of by a great company that we found. So it's going to give us so much more time to give individual attention, mentoring to each and every student. And right now we've got something like 900 active students.
Wow.
3 of us.
Great.
So this is going to open up the whole world to us. So I am beyond excited.
Awesome.
That's what I'm excited about.
That's worthy of excitement. Well, congratulations. That's huge. And then our second co-host, Laura Biewer from CoachMeLaura.com. Laura, how's it going?
Bill, it's pretty exciting around here too. Lots of changes happening. For those of you who know that I teach for the NNA, the classes have gone Zoom. And so they're live classes, not pre-recorded. So you'll have an instructor all day, and then you just choose a testing date somewhere in your area. So every day they'll be testing somewhere at a hotel, and you just go in to do the testing, and you do the 6 hours live online, which is great for me because it really reduces my travel, because it's just that commute to my PC. So if you're looking to renew your commission with the NNA, know that you can go on every day. They have a Zoom class. It doesn't matter where you are in California. They just mix up the classes now. So the class will be 50 to a class. So anyways, that's exciting. The other thing that's exciting is Symposium has launched for its 5th year. And we made that pivot to virtual live, lots of exciting things happening. The most exciting thing is we've sold a lot of our seats already. There's only 100 tickets left. So if that's something that you're thinking about, you might want to go to notarysymposium.com and get that seat secured because they're going fast every day. I have less and less to work with. So we are excited. We've got 6 new speakers, 6 different topics. It's US specific instead of California specific. And I think you guys are going to love it.
Yeah, awesome. I totally agree. I'm excited for you. That's going to be an amazing event with amazing speakers. I'm so impressed with those. And I can't wait. So I put the link, guys, notarysymposium.com. It is in the chat window. If you haven't got your seat yet, you'll definitely want to grab that. For
Bill,
me,
did you have something new and exciting going on?
Yeah, thanks. I always have something new and exciting going on. But guys, what part of the commitment for me and Notary Coach is really to bring all the tools necessary to make you or help you be successful in this business. And part of that is technology based. And last week we rolled out our very first simple CRM for notaries that makes it super easy to track your database, add people in there. You know, part of the success that I teach from is morning mastery. And that's adding 3 to 5 names or 20 names if you're really hustling in this business to your database, and maintaining and nurturing that database. So we rolled out our TOMM CRM last week, and it's been going really great. So I just want to offer the replay to you. So you can see the real value and functionality of that. If you've been thinking, man, I know I need to track my database, but it's too hard at the end of the day, watch this replay on this webinar, because I think it will really help you out there. And I'll just post that in the chat window. It is notarycoach.com/optimize if you're interested in that. And then there's really cool and exciting things that we're adding into that as time goes by too. Guys, I know we have a lot of great questions already. We got hands flying in the air. I can see you in the back like this. Let's do this and answer some great questions. First, I just want to remind everybody, if the camera's on, your clothes are on. And please make sure everybody in your house knows that there's a camera, because we've been seeing some things that we shouldn't be seeing. Leave yourself on mute at all times unless you're engaged in the conversation. And then to ask a question, the most efficient and effective way is to raise your hand. If you don't know how to raise your hand in Zoom, please just ask it in the chat window and somebody will help you out and walk you through that. Really simple. You're just going to click on my face, wave the mouse over my face right now. A little toolbar on the bottom will pop up. Click participants, find your name, click more, and you can raise your hand. Also, there is a replay to this, and we will post it to the YouTube channels collectively, and we will send it out via email. So hopefully that answers all your questions. The other thing I just want to remind guys, as I'm facilitating the conversation here, I am not watching and monitoring the chat on a regular basis, so I don't get the private messages. I don't see the questions in chat until the very end, and by then it's usually too late. So please, if you have a question, raise your hand or get Laura or Carol's attention so they can get my attention as well. Okay, Karen, you have been sitting so patiently with the very first question today. First of all, remember the format. Tell us what state you're in and tell us your question.
I am from the Sunshine State of Florida.
Awesome.
My question is, what is a drive-through signing?
Drive-through signing.
I have one scheduled, and it's a drive-through signing. What is that?
Is it McDonald's?
Whatever. Nice.
Where is it?
Wendy's, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Carol, have you heard anything about these drive-throughs?
I have heard very little about them. I'm totally against this, but it's basically handing documents through windows or whatever means they have and getting things signed. So they're not actually sitting together, but they're not, 25 feet apart and with walls between them. That's all I know. I'm not recommending that these be done.
Just a variation of the curbside that we've been hearing a lot about. Yeah.
Basically.
So Karen, there's a lot of debate over the legality of signings, but people can also get really creative in how they make these work for the safety of signers and for the notary. So I think the thing to remember, and Carol and Laura, feel free to chime in, but when you're working with jurats in a loan signing package, you've got to witness those signatures. So you've got to see the borrower, you've got to be able to validate the identity. We still have to be able to perform our duties as a notary. And our duties as a notary are to prevent fraud. And if we can't do that, we should not be doing the signing. Okay. That's kind of the policy I have on it. Now, here's what I have learned. I've heard, and I've seen the letters. People have forwarded them to me from the lenders, and a lot of them are insurance company lenders. They're really going above and beyond, telling their customer that things are going to be a certain way and promising that things are going to be a certain way. And what I've been hearing is that the borrowers or the signers are not all that concerned, where they want a drive-through, they want to stand out in the sun and pass things through paper. They want to be safe, so they would like it if you wore your masks and your other PPE and had 6-foot spacing, but they're okay with you coming into the house with a conversation. So I think that would be something I would recommend, is just have a conversation and see what the borrower's expectations are.
Actually, this is from the title company that sent it. I'm going to be going to the title company to do a drive-through.
At the title company?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that will be very interesting.
I'll let you know what it is next Tuesday.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to stand your ground too. That's so difficult, especially with an escrow direct, but with the right personality and professionalism, you can overcome anything. And nobody, when faced with this is against the law, I can't do it, is going to say do it anyway, because then they are party to an illegal transaction.
Yeah, I did let the customer know that I will be in mask and PPE, and he started laughing. It's like, yeah, okay. So,
okay.
all
Wow.
right, thank you.
I can't wait to hear how that goes. Thanks. Patrice, thanks for being here. Would you like to unmute, tell us what state you're in, and ask your question?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can. Hi.
Okay. Hi, Bill. Hi, everyone. This is for Carol. My goal is to finish the last little chunk of my training and get the test done before you convert. Is this a good idea?
You know what? I will tell you that when is your time expiring? At the end of July?
No. I still have more time.
Well, you're going to get even more time because every student who is still active, we're going to do a restart on August the 1st on Saturday. You're going to get a whole new 3 months.
Right. So, I mean, should
So
I
would wait. My internet.
So don't sweat it.
Can you guys hear me? Because my internet's unstable.
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
rush it.
Wait.
Okay.
Don't
Good.
worry about rushing it, because as of Saturday, everything's going to be a reboot. It's going to be great.
Right.
And we've changed the website. Barbara's redesigned it so much easier.
Right.
Yeah. So
okay, so I won't go crazy trying to hit that deadline then.
No.
Okay, and then the other question I had, so turns out it's my chiropractor. He comes from Canada, but he's a citizen here. His mom has property in Canada, and he's relinquishing his portion of it back to her. So it goes back to a Canadian lawyer. Do I need to, but he's here in Shelton, Washington. So is there anything I need to make sure I'm aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. You're going to just notarize the signature as you would anything else. But Laura is more, I think, has more knowledge with out of country things than I do. So perhaps she might want to jive in. Laura, is there anything else?
Here?
Oh, she was. As far as I know, and I handled this a lot, I don't think there's anything different you have to think about in Canada. Is there any kind of steel thing or anything?
Just, use your own state's language, because if it's got Canada wording,
okay,
you're not going to want to use
the form is, yeah, the form is weird, and I've been just looking at it on my phone because he just emailed it to me, so I haven't printed it out yet. So I might then add an acknowledgement to that as well. Is that a smart move? Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say as well.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
No,
okay.
not as well. I do one or do the other. Don't be doing both.
The other. Okay, good to know. So I'm still kind of a newbie. I'm getting my feet. I've been doing signings, general signings, this, that. And so I'm going to find the answer to this question after a bit. If I'm traveling and I'm in another state, I cannot perform notarizations in that state, can I?
No, you're only commissioned for the state you live in, and you cannot do anything outside of your state.
Unless
on that soil.
Yeah, unless you're in a state, and like Washington allows you to be dual commissioned, but you have to go through the commission process in Oregon to get your dual commission there to do notarization. It can't just be willy-nilly.
And by the way, there are other states that do this. I know for Virginia and Washington, D.C., Indiana, Kentucky. If you're on the border, anybody out there, you just check with your Secretary of State's office, and you can get dual commissions in a lot of the states.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Close to the border,
Right. Okay, well, that will take care of me for a while. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Patrice. Neil, thanks for being here. Would you like to tell us what state you're in and ask your question?
Hey, my name is Neil, and I'm in Arizona. And I have a question about the notary stamp. Here in Arizona, we only allowed to have one stamp. So my question is, if I'm in the middle of a loan signing and something goes wrong with my stamp, if it breaks or if the ink doesn't come through, what are my options at that point?
It sucks.
Yeah.
Or like it sometimes gets lost or stolen at times too. So that's, if it breaks, you got to do your best to fix it. I mean, I'd love to hear Laura's suggestions too, because Laura, I know you get some backup stamps where you're at, but how do you plan for situations like this?
Well, yeah, I do, because I can. In California, we can have as many stamps as we want. So when I did have one that broke, I just moved to a different size stamp that I had. And I always recommend, if your state allows you to have more than one stamp, to have it. If your law in Arizona, and I'd have to look it up to know what it says that you must have a stamp for every document you notarize, you're out of business. If that's your only stamp and you have no way to stamp, and your law requires you to have a stamp for every document that you notarize, you have to stop notarizing.
Yeah.
When we were in Arizona, we had several stamps. We worked there for 7 years, and Bill and I each had our own stamp plus extras.
So that's the common practice in Arizona, but the statute does say that you can only have one stamp and every document must have a stamp. So it really is binding, but I can tell you most notaries, there's no way to track it. So you can have your multiple stamps. So some notaries will have one locked up in a safe place, so they have a backup. But I have been in the middle of a signing where it dropped and it hit exactly where it needed to hit, and it like shattered the plastic on it. But I was in there, I was getting the rubber and stamping. It was messy, but I did whatever I had to do to get the job done at that point. But for that same reason,
there should be a move. I'm sorry. Maybe there should be a movement.
There probably should be.
Get to Secretary of State. Hey, that's what we did when we were there, trying to raise the fees and all that stuff. Try to get them to change their mind.
And what I do too, Neil, is I use Phoenix Rubber Stamp Company right at 43rd Street in McDowell. They're local, so when things go wrong, I can just call them and say, hey, I need a replacement stamp, and I can get it usually within 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
As opposed to ordering it from another outside company and they got to ship it and do all that stuff. So.
Okay, so if I'm in the middle of a signing and there's no way I can fix the stamp, then I just have to call whoever gave me the loan, just let them know what happened, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's a bummer. That probably does not happen as often as you think. That's why you always have backup ink, so running out of ink is nobody's fault but your own.
Right, okay.
You gotta have that kind of stuff. Every now and then there's going to be something cataclysmic that does happen, but if there's truly nothing you can do, that's so rare. I wouldn't even put it on your radar too much. But yeah, that would be your responsibility, just to communicate as soon as possible.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then, yeah, to what Carol said too, guys, communicating and getting involved with your state. Like I am calling in favors to get on to Katie Hobbs, our Secretary of State. I mean, I want to sit down with her and explain how ridiculous our RON law is and how ridiculous this stamp law is. Like, I just want to convey that from the ground up. And you can, even if it's through proper legislative channels, lobbying and trying to get their attention that way, but calling in personal favors. Some of these states are a lot smaller. Montana, you can just walk right into the Secretary of State's office. Sometimes you can in bigger states too. Get involved and let your voice be heard for sure.
Bill, you have such a huge following, especially in Arizona. You're the leader, man. You can get in there. You can make something happen.
You would think. She's never heard of Notary Coach though. Yet.
Uh-huh.
All right. Thanks a lot, Neil. Thanks for bringing that up. Leonard, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, ask your question. Don't forget to tell us what state you're in.
I'm in Michigan. How you guys doing today? So I've got a quick
Hey, Leonard, can I stop you for a minute?
Sure.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
A little better.
It just sounds really far away. I think the microphone that it's using is.
Let's see. Can you hear me now, Bill?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can? Okay. I'll try to talk louder. So I've got a quick claim deed here in Michigan tomorrow. And the question I have basically is, looking at the information when I get to the information on the quick claim deed, I know normally we're there to notarize the signatures. but like any type of tax information or currency information, things of that nature, do I need to make sure, especially like any tax record type fee information needs to be on the deed before I sign it?
Well, I don't know about that, but are you asking if the lines are like there's empty lines?
Well, that would be it, right? Because that would be one of them. If that's the case, probably like a recording fee or whatever that could potentially be up top or something like that.
Well, so I just want to, just for clarity's sake, every state's deed can look a little bit different. The information that goes on it is not necessarily your responsibility, but it's a notarized document and it's probably going to get recorded. So you're going to need to make sure that it's filled out or at least addressed by the signer, because that's really their purview. They're signing it. They should be concerned about what's going into it. And I know Laura speaks to this a lot. Laura, do you want to share anything on blank lines on the quitclaim deed?
Yeah, just that. Typically, it's not up in the recorder's area, which can be blank. It's down in the signer's statement area, so they need to address it somehow. Otherwise, it's an incomplete document, and we can't notarize it. Okay.
And then the only other thing I have is that do I need to make sure, like here in Michigan, different counties have different deeds. Is that my responsibility to make sure the deed is proper for the county?
No.
Can be.
Okay. All right.
That's definitely legal advice.
Okay.
Takes a lot of pressure off, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Leonard. Thanks for being here. Hey, Janine, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're in, and ask your question.
Hi, everyone. I'm from New Mexico, and my question is about Eno Insurance. I have read in the forums that the NNA will not cover you if something in the signing goes wrong. It will only cover notarial acts and the rest of the signing, which can fall back on a signing agent. What's your guys' take on this? And should I also buy other business insurance along with Eno?
Great question. We've, just for the record, we've addressed this quite often in previous TNTs and other. So the first thing I'm going to say is that we're not attorneys, we're not insurance advisors or licensed for any of that. So we can't technically give advice on that. What I'll share from my own personal experience is I use the NNA's Eno insurance policy. It has, it does cover only the notarial acts, and I'll let Laura speak to this too, because she works very closely with the NNA, and also talk about the tail coverage, Laura, because that's one of the main reasons I like the NNA coverage, because what that means is that when I retire or when I stop being a signing agent at some point, this Eno insurance still covers me and covers anything that may come up down the road, which is more common than finding something immediately that's going to need Eno insurance. Laura, do you want to speak to that at all?
I agree, that it is only for notarial acts, and the tail coverage you mentioned is important because some of the less expensive Eno policies only cover you while you're paying the premium. And when you stop paying premiums, that's it. So, but lawsuits can happen up to 6-7 years after the fact. So you don't want to be paying premiums for another 6-7 years from the last time you did a notarization. You'd rather have a policy that has tail coverage that says, okay, if you were a notary at that time and you had a policy at that time, we will cover you.
Yeah, I think that's important. And then for additional insurance, I think it really comes down to individual risk tolerance. If you have a very low risk tolerance and you want to make sure every single thing is covered, or you've got significant assets that you think people are going to constantly be in pursuit of, then you might consider additional professional coverage, or you can get the Eno coverage that covers signing agents, which would cover everything, which is basically just like a professional liability insurance anyway. But you'll have to get some legal advice on what that is. Plan to spend more because it will cost more. But
okay, thank you guys.
You need it to do this business? No. In fact, followed the system like in Sign and Thrive, the 5 phases. I tell you exactly which policy I get. I tell you exactly why I get it. I have a link in there to where to get it. This is the system that most people follow. Now, everybody has their own risk tolerance. So when you see the posts in Facebook forums, that's people sharing their perspective and their risk tolerance. And that's it. And that might match yours. It might not match yours. You get to make your own decision there.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Daniel Brewer, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, share with everybody where you're from, and ask your question.
Hey, Bill, I'm up here in Portland, Oregon. How's everybody doing? It's a very cool 100 degrees up here today.
I can relate.
I wanted to ask, Oregon, I'm really kind of excited and nervous. Oregon is just passed RON, remote online. It was supposed to take effect in January, and now it looks like it's going to take effect like in next week. And so what I'm one of the big challenges we have is when you update your commission, you have to pick a vendor, and I am finding that is a little bit challenging. What vendors are people using, and what kind of the research is not helping me at all. A lot of them cost $25 per notarization, and that's what our max fee is going to be for remote online notarization. So how do you pick a vendor?
Okay.
Pick a friend.
I'm not sure if it's your internet or mine, Daniel. I hope it's yours. That's because I'm talking. But this is a very common problem right now for anybody coming into remote online notarization, and especially in the states where they're rushing it forward through an executive order, and it hasn't been fully legislated yet. So I wish I could give you just a real cut and dry answer on this, but I would love anybody who's on this call and participating in RON and likes their platform or doesn't like their platform and wants to share with Daniel why, please post that in the chat window. What I will offer you is that these different platforms are totally different. They're still pretty clunky. The whole system's pretty clunky. It's really kind of a cluster right now in a lot of ways. The first thing that you want to ask of your platform is, can you be an independent notary on it? If you cannot be an independent notary on it, meaning you can't bring your own customers to the platform, that puts you out of business right away with it. So you'd probably just pass on that. And that immediately eliminates quite a few of them right there.
Yeah.
And then from there, Laura, I know you've been really closely tracking this as well. What have you heard?
You know, there's only a couple, I believe, that allow you to be an independent notary, bringing your own. Of course, DocVerify is one. Not that I'm their fan, I'm just saying that is one. And there are others that are coming out. The problem really is that the cost to use the technology may end up meeting or exceeding the fee you're ever going to get. And so I would be very careful about jumping on the RON wagon until, Sinex is another one. And until you see what's going on. There's the leading edge and the bleeding edge. And I wouldn't want to be the first one doing it. Because then if it doesn't work out, I've spent money with one and now I'm going to have to start again with another one. So I don't know what, I understand that your state's going to be doing it sooner than later. But even if I was in your state doing it, I don't know that I'd start doing it at the beginning until it's worked out a little bit, because there's a lot of issues happening with RON. We don't even know if the stuff we're notarizing with RON will be acceptable if they're loan signings, on the secondary market.
Yeah.
Bill, may I make a comment?
Yeah, please.
I've been interviewing, if you will, a great number of my graduates in these states, in Texas and Virginia, and a couple of the other states. And for the most part, they're not happy. They are not making money. They're being paid very little amount of money. They, in Texas, they hired a bunch of them, hundreds of people, to be employees. They have fired them, taken away whatever benefits were offered to them. They're not making almost no money. And these people are not happy. They don't want to do it. And if the notaries are not willing to work on it, I don't care what the title companies want or anything else, it's just not going to be successful. It's going to take a long time, I think, for that whole thing to settle down and they come up with something that's going to work for everyone. So I've been passing that on when people are asking me, that everyone I've talked to, not happy.
I've been hearing very similar, and there are some people who are just killing it at the same time. So there's a possibility here, but I mean, it really takes determination to get in there. So I think Ron should absolutely be on the radar, and it should be part of the long-term plan, not the short-term plan. If I had one piece of advice, it would be not to rush into it for sure, especially with an executive order, because there is going to be expense. The state does not care that you're not making money on it. We're running that into that in Arizona as well. So, and it's doing a disservice to the public. So soon they'll realize that, and they'll alter and they'll adjust. So we want to stay on top of it, keep your finger on the pulse, but I wouldn't be dropping everything to focus on that. In fact, you know, my clients, when this thing first hit, everybody's like, oh, scrambling. We're going to get you on remote online notarization. Here's what you need to do. And we're going to just push all these through. We have not had a single Ron signing come through. Nobody's ready for it. This was being pushed by some of the big industry leaders, but the entire country, the rest of title companies, the recorders, they're not quite ready for it. And especially with this surge and low staff with the COVID-19 situation. So I would just kind of sit tight with it.
The only thing that I do find is working, and they started, and I've said this before with Notary to Pro graduates in Virginia, they were like the rats that got tested. But the ones that do enjoy it are doing nothing but general notary type work, where they're handling single documents from people all over the place. They do get enough money, and they have enough calls where they're happy. They're at home, they're taking calls, they're making, several $100s a week if they get enough business. But as far as loan signings, it's just not ready. It's not ready.
Industry not ready yet.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Arlene Francis Gaines, thank you for being here. You want to unmute, share what state you're from, and ask your question.
Hi, Bill. Thanks. I'm in Florida.
Nice.
And when you guys were talking about the drive-up signings, it made me worried. The other day, I got a call to come to a nursing home facility, and this gentleman needed his mom to sign a business document. They're not letting anyone in. She can't hear for me to talk to her on a phone through the window. So I printed a really big note that said, "Do you understand what you're signing?" And she was right on the other side of the window, and she gave a thumbs up and nodded yes. And then the next note was, "Are you signing of your free will?" And she gave a thumbs up and nodded yes. Her son had her driver's license to show me. I witnessed her sign the document, and then they handed it out the door, and I notarized it. Was that okay?
Laura, what's your opinion?
I think you're skating in a really murky area. You're in Florida, right? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Florida. Okay, so are you maintaining a journal?
Yeah, but they wouldn't let us put anything in there. So that, but it's not mandatory in Florida, although the NNA wants it. But this gentleman, there's no other way. How are these people in these nursing home facilities supposed to get their business handled if they're locking the doors completely? I don't see the legality of that's my struggle. I don't want to turn down someone that needs my help when that's my job because of the
But you're just asking, first of all, there's no law covering COVID, right? So we have to look at what the spirit of the law is, what our job is supposed to be. I was asked today to go and suit up because they're positive for COVID-19. Would I be willing to suit up and go in? No, I don't care if that's my job. I'm not risking my life, my mother's life, or everybody else I live with because they didn't take care of business when they should have, right? Because now their emergency is my emergency. And that's just not how I'm able to work with the public. So I would say, I don't know that you did anything illegal since it's not required to have the journal. That's a standard of care for that. It's really hard to examine somebody's ID through glass. I think it's really hard to know, besides a thumbs up, that they're alert and aware. I'm not saying you didn't do what you could do. I'm just saying I don't think it's 100% fulfillment of the job. doing it the way they asked you to do it. And I think you'll have to make that decision on a case-by-case basis. Some cases you're just going to say, no, this is not going to work for me. I can't do it. And other times you might decide that it's close enough that you can deal with it. The bottom line is it's on you. If for any reason it's challenged, it's on you. And that's really the bottom line for me, is that I have to make that decision, and I hope it's a good one when I make it. And I'm not saying I haven't waded out into some gray areas to try to help somebody. I have. But I also know that if a family member challenges it, they think there's a lawsuit, and anything that comes of that, I was the notary in charge.
Got it. And probably want to over document, even though she wasn't able to sign your journal, you probably want to document that this was a transaction journal, and then add your notes of everything that you did to help validate this.
Okay, thanks guys.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Arlene. Weird times for sure. Okay, Carla, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're in, and ask your question.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm
Hi.
Carla, and I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Awesome.
Yes, I'm just finishing up Carol's Notary 2 Pro course, and just signed on with you, Bill. I'm very happy to be part of this team. My sister Dita is in California, and she encouraged me to join up with this great networking group. I really appreciate it. And hi,
Awesome.
Laura, too. I'm enjoying your videos on YouTube. Thank you. My question is about our records. I wanted to find out if they really are streamlined. It seems like just uploading all my documents and credentials one time would be great. And I was reviewing their training video that explains how our records works, and it says that you can quickly upload your documents to signing companies, and it's even easier if that signing company is a member of our records. So I wanted to find out what people's experience is.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Carol speak to that, because she's been talking about our records for years now.
Yeah, I have. They're great company. There's several advantages. One of the biggest ones, beside being able to upload all of your credentials in one spot, send them out immediately encrypted, there's other perks for you. All of our graduates get free entrance to start with a limited amount of the ability to send out encrypted documents. It's very inexpensive. They give us half off. 120 goes down to 60 for a whole year. That's $5 a month. And what that allows you to do, if you're returning documents to signing service title company, most of the time they're going to give you an email, like you scan them. We don't do faxes much anymore. Scan them, send them, let's say, to the title company, and they have their own encrypted, way of encrypting the documents, which you have to do. But there's a lot of companies out there that don't have that. And by you emailing those directly to those companies, you're putting yourself at risk if those are ever attacked and somebody's identity is stolen. That comes down to you because you're the sender. You'll get blamed. With our records, with that $5 a month, you get an unlimited amount to send large documents, and it takes literally seconds to upload them to their system. You type in the name of the recipient, whoever they've given you, their email address, and you send it, and they will get notification in their email that they have documents from you in their mailbox. They go into their mailbox, and there it is, and it comes from our records, completely encrypted. When they download them, of course, they're readable and usable. I love it. I've had students send me documents, so they want me to see a lot of documents. They send them that way. They're in my email within seconds, and if I have to send documents to students for them to look over, within seconds they're there. We're on the computer together, and it's great. I love them, and the people are so good to work with. So I recommend it for everybody.
Sound good, Carla?
If I may, she mentioned a point there, if there was some type of breach of, confidentiality. What kind of insurance would cover us in case something like that did happen? Is that
Well,
general liability insurance? Because our E&O
well,
wouldn't cover.
if you're accused of compromising somebody's security, I don't know.
Maybe general business.
Some sort of
Belonging to
professional
Legal
liability.
Shield is probably what I would suggest. Have a good
A
attorney.
good lawyer. Okay. Yeah, I wondered about that. You just
I don't
brought
know.
that up.
Maybe Bill or Laura know better than I how to protect yourself from that. But the
Well, I
best
think
way to
someone
make sure you
someone mentioned
do it.
general liability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
General and professional liability insurance. But you
Professional,
want to
yeah,
make sure
yeah.
that it's line itemed in your policy, so it's covered.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank
No
you.
problem. Great question.
I just
All
want to
right.
mention there is a cyber policy out there.
Awesome.
Can't imagine it's very cheap.
Probably not, right?
Probably not.
All right. Crystal's iPad's on the line with us. Crystal, you want to unmute, tell us what state you're from, and ask your question. Crystal's iPad. Oh, there she
Yes.
is. All right.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, great. I tried my iPad today. Hello, everybody. I'm from Virginia. And the question is, now that we're collecting all of the documents from our signings, do you all download all of those documents right onto your computer? And that's, if you've been in the business for a while, you have a lot of documents on your computer. How are you all handling that?
You got to delete them almost right away. I know Carol advocates for hanging on to them for, I think, 30 days, making sure that you get paid, making sure that it's secure so it can't be hacked from the internet. For me, I don't even do that. I delete them right away because I don't want them on the computer at all for any extended periods of time. Laura, what do you do?
I delete them once the job is done.
Great. Carol, what else do you have to say on that?
Flash drives. I just download directly to a flash drive, which is not connected to the computer. I have several large flash drives. They're not on a computer. They're not accessible. That's it. But I really have for years recommended to my graduates that they keep them until they get paid. Make sure that they don't call up and say, oh, you forgot to get the grant deed signed. And you check and you see, oh, I never got it in the first place. That's happened to us many times over the years. And it's happening to my graduates every once in a while.
Okay, great. And you shred them maybe after 30 days, the documents themselves?
Well,
if we get stuck with them, we put them in a barrel with bleach and water. And they turn into, what do you call that stuff that the kids play with?
Paper mache?
Play-Doh?
Yeah, paper mache. Then you can throw it away.
Yeah, so you but you won't have too many printed out. You know, the only ones that you print out and you still have are probably because there's cancellations or errors or something like that. But most of them you're leaving at the borrowers. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. No problem. Thank you, Crystal. Yesenia, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're from, and ask your question.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
I am from California. So my question is, I believe, more towards Laura. So I have an appointment this week for notarizing a will. And yesterday when they called me for this appointment, the first thing I said is like, are you sure it needs to be notarized? Because usually wills only have 2 witnesses to my knowledge. She did tell me that the lawyer advised them to get a notary and they only needed 1 witness for this will because the notary doesn't want to see them at his office kind of thing.
Yeah.
So should that be good to go then?
So yes, you know, what we learn and what I teach is just for you to know as general knowledge, not to insist with the client of what they're supposed to do. If
Oh.
they've got an attorney who drafted a will and they're recommending that will be notarized, and if they're going to get one witness, I'm assuming they are thinking that the notary was going to be the other witness for the second one. But if not, if they're getting legal advice that says one witness will do it and then have it notarized after that, then it's on them. It's not on the notary.
All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
All right, good job. Vanessa D, thanks for being here. You want to unmute. Tell us what state you're in and ask your question.
Hi, everyone. I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can. All right,
All right.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so I have 3 questions. The first one, what is a partial claim? Like if you receive a notification from coast to coast, what does that mean?
I don't work for them. I don't know.
Are the partial claims, are these the new orders that there's coast to coast is sent out that they're trying to help? It's minimizing the payments, so they're behind on payments and they're doing a partial claim. Is that the $30 coast to coast that they're sending out? Can you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like that's exactly what it is. So basically what it is, Vanessa, is the borrower has fallen behind in their payments, and in lieu of foreclosure, the borrower or the lender has worked out a special arrangement with them. They're making a partial claim for the payments. So it's a really short stack of paperwork. Kim came on last week and shared their under 30 pages. They usually pay $30 to $50 just depending on the appointment.
So they're pretty simplistic is what you're saying? Because I'm new.
They're very simple and relatively fast to do.
Bill,
Okay.
could I jump in real quick only because I personally did this for my own mortgage.
Yeah, please.
If you got a forbearance, what it is basically is almost like a second mortgage tacked on. And I've done 2 for other people in town. Yeah, it's super simple. It's like 2 signatures. But if you're in Florida, I got hit with this just today. I needed 2 other witnesses besides the notary. So clarify that, because that really became a problem for me today. But yeah, they're super easy, 15 minutes, nice and quick. Thank you.
Okay. And then I have 2 more questions. One for Laura. When you were speaking in the beginning about doing the online classes in California with Zoom,
Yes.
does that apply to all the other states, or is it just Cali that's doing that?
Well, California is the one that has the mandated training, and the NNA does that normally in a live classroom situation, and that's what I was referring to. So no other states. We're not live in other states.
Okay. All right. And then the last question that I have is, so like when you're doing general notary work, do you have to have like a business name? Like how does that work when you go to track your stuff? Like how do you report it? Like if you don't have like a business name,
Then it's just
you're
under
not
your personal name.
Yep. You're just what's called a sole proprietor. And
Right.
you report it on your taxes, just like your income. And depending on what it is, you can have a schedule of some of your deductions and things like that. But it's just a home-based business, essentially, is what it comes down to.
so it's not like a 1099 or anything like that. You just keep the receipts, the copies of the receipts that you're giving out for your notarial acts. And then you would just report that. Is that what you're saying?
So you track your income, you track your expenses. When you go to file your annual tax return, you will probably use a Schedule C as a sole proprietor, or
Okay.
you list your expenses and your income and then determine what your net profit is.
Okay. That's
That
all I
way-
needed.
Yeah, then you'll be taxed on that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Vanessa. Sharon Brake, thank you so much for being here. Looks like you're in California. Can you ask your question?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
All right, my question is, if you have a deed-only document, does this require a witness? Or is this determined by the lender or the title company whether or not you need a witness? And if a witness is required, is it the signer's responsibility to provide the witness? And do they have to be notarized?
All these questions.
You
Laura,
have a deed. Yeah, and you just have a deed.
Deed only.
All right. So first of all, whether or not the deed has to be witnessed has to do with the recording laws of that state. So I don't know what state your deed is from.
California.
California's not a witness state. There's only about 5 of them that require witnessing. So even though you might see the line for witness, not required. But let's just pretend one was required. for your follow-up questions, then it depends on what got negotiated with the person who hired you. So if you got hired directly by the signer, then they should be providing you the witness at the table. If you were hired by a signing company, then it depends on what you agreed to with the signing company as to whether you're going to do it or you're supposed to tell the signer to get their witness.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. On that same note, so if you were